I had a chance to visit with Urban Meyer, one of the best coaches in the country, one of the best recruiters in the country, and I had a chance to ask him a couple questions about his feelings about recruiting. Coach, when did you start recruiting this class that you're going to sign on Wednesday?
Well, the calendar's been moved up so far. There's going to be a couple guys signed on Wednesday, hopefully, that we've been involved with them for 2 years. And there's other ones that we just ran into, and I'm old-fashioned. I like to recruit the guys after their senior year, so I get to watch them. But we don't have that luxury anymore. So I'd say over half the class we've been recruited well over a year.
How has your early NFL enrollees impacted this class?
It's a nightmare. If everybody signs who say there's going to sign, we're going to be fine. But with the early, I expected 6, maybe 5. We always look ahead. I'm already looking at next year's, and 5 or 6 to leave. But when 9 guys decide to leave, a good chunk of players are already committed. Maybe we'll go try to flip them from another school. You just got to fill those spaces. If you'd have told me a year ago Eli Apple and Jalen Marshall, Tyvis Powell, no chance. I'm not blaming them. We won a national title. They're 50-4. I want my body to be ready to go take one shot at the NFL, and you can't argue with that.
How would you assess this class?
Well, I'll give you the coach speak. It's really good. I like to evaluate, the year after and the year after.
Right.
But I think, Ohio State academically, it's not what it used to be when I was here before, where you can make it through. This is an average 29 ACT place now. And so we walked away from some guys that we can't think can make it here academically, because that affects their football. Numbers-wise, we walked away from some pretty good players right at the end here. So the numbers got real tight fast.
The one part of this class that you know a little bit more about than the rest of them are the early enrollees.
Right.
Who's impressed you, and how do you assess that group?
I can't do it yet. I've been on the road. I'm anxious. I trust my strength coach. He likes him. And there's a kid named Tyler Gerald that's already lost 20 pounds. It's the typical lineman that you have to shave it off him and then get him going. A kid named Michael Jordan is an outstanding offensive tackle prospect. You got Austin Mack, who's already competing and winning a lot of the competitions in the weight room. So far it's been pretty good, but for me to tell you, I haven't seen him yet.
What are the upsides of an early enrollee other than the obvious that they
I think
here?
It's, it's all upside. The only negative is, and I got, my son, I'm not in a big hurry to have him leave the house. The only negative is you leave early and you're away from your family for another 6 months, but everything else is upside. The academic rigors are not near what it is in the fall. You get a chance to acclimate, you get a chance to weight room, you get the nutrition, especially how the NCAA lets us feed them now. It's all upside.
What are some of the unexpected things that have happened to you with a committed guy the last couple of days?
Oh, it's awful. That's going on right now.
What are some of the things that happen?
Oh, the hometown boys get involved, and it's just a monsoon of coaches, players, former players attacking them, and they're 18 years old. And the good thing is when you have strong parents, that usually helps, or a strong coach. When you have a very weak parents and a very weak coach, because they're 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, some are 16-year-olds. And the influence of twisting and turning, that's what goes on, and we're dealing with it right now.
But what are some of the strategies when you can't get a hold of a committed guy?
That's awful. That usually is an indication that we got a problem. And I can tell you a million stories about that. I always say when it goes silent, when they go underground, you got a problem. And so what you try, the best recruiters, and it's really the assistant coaches, the best recruiters are the one that I call them the octopus. They got so many tentacles around them that you can never, if that happens, you're probably not getting a kid, and your position, the assistant coach did not do a good job getting them. If you always have a backup plan, you can reach the kid by an assistant coach, by a secretary, by a grandfather, by a brother. You can always get them. Those are the good recruiters, and you usually get that kid.
We're 2 days away from signing day. What's it like the last 2 days?
Well, it's 50-year-old men walking through the hallways talking about 18-year-old kids, And last night I was driving home, and we're in a street fight, and I can't give you the name, but we're in a frickin' street fight for a player. It's like 4th down and 2. Your mouth goes dry a little bit, you start getting a heartbeat going, and I'm on the phone with his mother, and I've been trying to get him all day, and he's told me he's going to call me at 5 and tell me his decision, and it's 6:30. And so I pull into my driveway, I'm sitting there, and I'm talking to his mom, and all of a sudden I see his thing come across my phone. He's ringing, and hello, how's it going? And he said he's a Buckeye, so obviously you don't get all great stories like that. Sometimes you get, hey, I decided to go somewhere else, but it was one of those. I started honking the horn like a 12-year-old and screaming, and my son came out, hey, what's going on?
I have a good source that says that may have been Jordan Fuller that he was talking to. You know, Howard, I talked to Urban. I said, any rule changes that you'd like to see in recruiting? And he didn't want to get into it a lot, but maybe the calendar, maybe a dead period during July. But he thinks the NCAA does a great job in governing recruiting. The one thing he did say, I think you have an appreciation for this, he'd like to make sure that no one else is involved in the process but the families and the high school coaches, because basketball, as you know, it's the AA coaches. In fact, some basketball coaches don't even have to go to the high school any longer to recruit the kids. So it was really interesting.
Yeah,